Hello and welcome back to Ask a Debt Collector. Today, I wanted to talk about the best way and form in which you should pay a debt collection agency. My name is Jay and welcome to Ask a Debt Collector. I've been in the debt collection business for over 15 years. I've worked in all aspects of debt collections. From where I started as a legal verifier, where basically all I would do was verify place of employment, as well as if someone owned any assets like a home. And if I found that information, I would send it straight to the collector and they would basically sue on the accounts. From there, I went to a skip tracer. Basically, there, all I did was skip trace information and found numbers and so forth to get in contact with consumers to obviously get them to pay their debt. From there, I worked as a debt collector where I actually did the collecting, where I did the calling and so forth. I worked in management where I had a team of over 20 people under me where I coached them on collecting, debt collecting and all of the nuances concerning that, as well as I've been an owner of a debt collection agency. Now, over the course of my life, for friends and family, I've been the go-to guy to answer questions with regards to debt and credit. I've cleaned credit for so many of my friends and family and answered so many questions concerning that stuff, and now I want to do it for you. So, if you have any questions about debt, like when's the best time to call a debt collection agency and negotiate a debt, all the way down to verifying a debt collection agency, figuring out if they're a real collection agency or not, I am here to help you with that. Like, subscribe, share with your friends and family. If you have any questions directly yourself, put them down in the comments and I promise you I will answer those questions for you. Let's go. Today I'm a little excited. Number one, just because of life, man. Sometimes we get so caught up in the nuances of everything that's happening, we sort of kind of forget to be thankful. I woke up this morning, I get started, I get a chance to share some information with you guys and hopefully it's helping you. And number two, a big reason why I'm excited today is I have twin boys and today is their 4th birthday. So I'm a little excited about that as well. During COVID, obviously, parties and everything are a little bit different, but, I'm very, very happy to see that my boys, they made it to 4 years old. They're 4 years old today, so wish them a happy birthday in the comments if you'd like, and I'll let them see those comments. Nevertheless, let's get into it. The best ways to pay a debt collection agency. Now, if you've ever dealt with a debt collection agency, a lot of times, unless you're actually going to pay the payment today, right? Like if you, let's say for instance, that $3,000 settlement, they accept, $3,000 account, they accept a $1,500 arrangement on the account on a one-time payment. Typically, collection agencies, they push for either a check by phone or a credit card by phone. The reason why is I've worked at a lot of collection agencies, and what happens is when someone, let's say for instance, the person's saying, yeah, I could pay $1,500, but they're not going to be able to pay till the 27th of the month, and we're at the 15th of the month. As much as we would like to believe that you're going to actually make that payment, chances are things can happen, within that time span. And so what agencies push is to get, something on file, a check by phone or a credit card by phone. And with this, we'll hold the check, we'll post date it, tell the date that you're specifying that you would have the funds in the account. And then it just seems a little more because a lot of times, I've done it myself personally. You get someone and they say, okay, yeah, I can't afford to pay today, but I could pay you a week from now and I'll mail the payment in. And then the payment never comes. And, not to their detriment, something may have popped up. Their car may have, broke down or unexpected bill may have popped up or something along those lines. And then what happens is we can never get them back on the phone. So we push for a check by phone or credit card by phone. And it just ensures us that you're going to obviously be obligated to do it, because once you give a check by phone, most consumers will be like, okay, they know, okay, on the 25th, I'm paying this company $1,500. They have the checking information on file, and you're more likely or more apt to actually make that payment. Now, on the flip side, with my belief with regards to giving a check by phone or a credit card by phone, I've had a lot of consumers call me and never want to give that information. They feel like, oh, I don't want to give my routing number. I don't want to give my account number. I don't want to give, my credit card number over the phone. I don't know who you are or anything along those lines, which I definitely understand. But they end up paying with a money order. Let's say a money order, they end up making that transaction with the money order. So they go down to their local gas station or whatever it is, they get the money order, they send it. Now, you got to keep a receipt. You got to keep a copy of that receipt. But I've had so many consumers call, where an account we have, they're like, yeah, I paid them. I took care of it. Well, how did you pay it? I paid with the money order. Do you have the proof that you paid it? No, I don't. See, you have no record when you pay with a money order. Yes, you may be protecting your checking information or you're feeling a little more comfortable. Personally, I wouldn't pay a debt collection agency that you haven't verified and you haven't did your due diligence to make sure, obviously, in fact, that they have the account and they're responsible for payment on your debt. But that happens. So you end up paying with a money order. 2-3 years down the road, another agency, debt collection agency, calls you about the same account and you have no proof of payment. Always recommend that you do pay with a check by phone, personally. And the reason why is because you have a record. When you make that transaction, you have the actual company name that took the money and you have the actual transaction date of when that transaction came out of your account. Right? So you have a record. 2-3 years from now, something goes bad. Worst case scenario, you go to your bank, you may have to pay a small fee to get the transaction around the time span that you did it, and you have proof that you made that transaction. With the money order, a lot of times, you're going to lose that information. Plus, obviously, you have that paid in full letter, as well as that arrangement letter, which in the other 2 videos, I talk about that. As far as getting that information. So that's why I recommend that. Credit card by phones, a lot of times, unless we can actually get a signed receipt, what I've had happen to me is typically with the credit card, you're governed by Visa or MasterCard or American Express or Discover. And a lot of times their laws are a lot different than the actual bank itself. So, if you paid a company with a credit card by phone and they never sent you, like if you go to Walmart and you pay with credit, they give you a receipt or you put your PIN number in. Obviously, you wouldn't give your PIN number to a debt collection agency. You'll pay with credit. If they send over a receipt, if they don't send over a receipt and you don't pay that, you can get your paid in full letter. And honestly, in 3 or 4 months, you can dispute that transaction as a chargeback. And automatically, you'll get your money back because there is no signed receipt if you didn't get a receipt from a debt collection agency, if they didn't get your actual signed receipt. Back to the check by phone. Another thing that I just thought of that I wanted to share with you guys with regards to paying by check by phone. Not only do you get a record, but I always tell people you're federally insured through your bank up to $350,000 to $250,000. So if a transaction happens that, let's say suppose you set up a transaction, you authorize a company to make a $1,500 payment, you can contact your financial institution, your bank, and tell them, hey, in this case, hey, I'm authorizing so-and-so debt collection agency to run a one-time payment of $1,500 out of my account on whatever the specified day, not $1 more and not $1 not another transaction. So then if that company goes in and tries to run another transaction, they could be in jeopardy and they could be in trouble with the law, as well as your bank would stop that. So giving a check by phone, I think, is the best. Secondly is a credit card by phone. Thirdly is certified funds with a cashier's check, because at least with that cashier's check, if you make a copy of that, you can actually get your records with regards to that. And that's always a little bit better with regards to that. Now, if you are setting up some type of monthly payment to a company and let's say you owe $3,000, you're paying $50 a month, in that situation, same thing. I would possibly do a check by phone. The only thing you do run into, what may happen is if you pay it for like 2 or 3 months and then suppose you stop paying your payment, they do have your checking information on file, and if something goes wrong and they're able to sue you on that account, they have your checking information, and so could possibly do a bank levy, where with the judgment they can just go right in that account, and depending on how much it is that they owe plus court and attorney fees, they can just zap it right out of your account. So you wouldn't want that to happen in that aspect. But ultimately, you want a record. And with a money order, which is what majority of consumers want to do, and they're always so uptight about giving their checking information, you're federally insured. Just make sure you do your due diligence. Contact the bank and let them know what you authorize that debt collection agency to do. And they'll have like a flag on your account. And if something's ran that's more than what you authorize or anything along those lines, obviously, it won't go through, and you'll protect yourself, but you'll have a record of what transpired and what happened. So if you ask me, in my opinion, especially if you're doing 1, 2, or 3 payments to close your debt collection account out, I recommend that you do set up a check by phone. That way you have a record of each transaction. You have your information on your bank statements with regards to making your transactions. As always, thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions, be sure to put them down in the comments. And as always, like I always say, I really mean it. You guys be great.